church shoes. Billy point two just to hurt you. All red lamb just to tease you. None of these toys on these two. Made your whole year in a week too. Main bitch out of your week too. Side bitch out of your week too. House so empty, need a centerpiece. 20 racks of table cut from ebony. Cut the ivory into skinny pieces. Now she clean it with a face, man, I love my babe. You're talking money, need a hearing aid. Talking about me, I don't see the shade. Switch up my side, take any lane. Switch up my cup, I kill anything.
Apparently it wasn't muting my mic and unmuting it. Right, shit, right, cool. This is... What's that red? Is there a red... that'll be just on the OBS way. Right, this is... qualifying in a minute. Well, we just got to check a fog right now for the practice. Then quality will be coming up straight after this. As per usual, I will just leave the game running and have some music in the background. I'll probably not leave the game audio on though, because I am talking to people. But it looks like we've got a really good turnout today for the final race of the endurance series here at Stark Dark Suzuka. So enjoy the qualifying, guys, if you are watching. See you in a bit.
turn up the. Turn up the.
slow change. Chilwell. It's just a little loose and lazy between Chilwell and Mel. But England are winning it back so easily. He's a famous player in his day, as he was and has played more international games all for the old Yugoslavia in the 80s and early 90s. He played here at Wembley a couple of times since the 1990 World Cup.
ups on me. Black ups on it.
We are back. And with qualifying that has finally finished. It only took about 5 days. But I will run you through the qualifying order. I think this is the final qualifying order. Thought we had more than 8 GT3s, but I suppose Brad, aka Breakfast Man, disconnected just then because apparently his internet has died. Then we have LMP car Lee Crossley by himself with a 148, and then ignoring everything Lee does, first place Jayan unfortunately can't put his own name into the thing with a okay, right, we're gonna lose that for a second. There we go. Right, first we have Jayan Pashed Potato with a 200 in first place. Was that on hards? No, knowing Jayan, he probably did do that on hards. But then it's followed by Eddie with 2 seconds behind him, then Henry, then Thomas, then Johnny, right, and then Gabby, Paul, and then Benedictus Whites. So it's not the biggest grid we've ever had on here, but still, Suzuka, really good track. Should be fun. This is a different track to what we used to in Suzuka because it's a different mod of a track. So the lights are a bit. It didn't put a D after the grand. Mod maker, what are you doing? You put all the effort in to put these screenshots of the F1 from like 2017 or 2016 or something. Probably 2016 because there's no halo on them. Wait, did they have them in 2017? Oh wait, no, I didn't have them. Yeah. I don't think they didn't have them in 2017, did they? Could be 2017 cars then. But we have an hour and a half of racing around this beautiful track in the beautiful Japan. I think it's called Suzuka where it is. We've got 3 minutes until a start begins. That's me, right at the back, doing fuck all. I don't really know what else to say. Oh, this is a nice handheld motion camera. I think JN might have this in the bag, but knowing JN, he probably will crash. As I get annoyed again by the Grand Prix, not the Grand Prix, Grand Prix. Right, I am not distracted anymore. There we go. We have 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining until the lights go out. We have the LMP car by himself for some reason in the Audi. Apparently Audi are actually going to win something for once. Because there is only one LMP car. To be honest, it'd be really funny if Lee lost. I'm sorry, Lee, but that would be really funny. somehow lost in a multi-class race. And it's very weird if you look at the crowd right now, because they were all staring at us. It was really weird. I think, yeah, we go. Right, the lights are up. We have 6 lights on our screen. None of them are lit up though. As I just said, they were lit up. They're not up. 1 or 2 is, 3 is, 4 is, 5 is, the 6th one is, and they are out and they're off from the line. Looks like Lee's going to get a really good start because he is in an LMP car. Looks like Jane did not get a good start. I think he might be going side by side with McLaren. I think that might be Henry. Going side by side. It's Eddie on the outside. Eddie on the outside. Goes going to get the outside. For the real good stuff for Eddie. It's good. Jesus Christ. Then it goes Henry and then JN and then Thomas keeping his position. He's got a pause on the outside of him now. All cars staying on the track for now. Really good racing. All the drivers on the track. It's, as I was saying, it's Eddie and Henry. It looks like Johnny Knight is going to get a position up on Paul Harrison. So as I keep trying to say, it's Aiden, then Henry, then Jay, and then Thomas Moan. Johnny Knight, Harrison, Gabby DeLuca, and White. Looks like things have calmed down a bit now as we go around these amazing right-handed sections, really nice bits to drive as we see Lee storming away in his LMP car by himself. We do see a bit of a fight between at the back there between the Porsche and the McLaren. I think that's Gabby and Paul Harrison, probably closest right now. It is. We're going to be on board with Gabby right now as she tries to hunt down Paul Harrison in his Porsche. I think the Porsche might have on the straights depending on Gabby's setup. As Jay goes a bit wide, goes on a bit in the on the AstroTurf. Going to lose a bit of traction there. He's going to follow Henry onto the straight. Going to have the superior top speed to Henry and probably to everyone else on the track. I haven't seen the top speeds of everyone, but Jay's already got back to the bumper. He's going to go through 130R. It's tricky. Right-hander definitely in the GT3s. A lot more tricky than in F1 cars or high downforce cars like the LP car, as it's just straight. And you don't have to lift, but we're on board with Paul now as he is hunting down. Oh, that's me. I'm sorry. That's me. I'm so sorry. Oh, Jesus Christ. I may have almost caused a collision, but not quite sure why it didn't reset me to the pits earlier. But I did completely forget about that. Oh, yeah, it was like, why the fuck is that guy just stopped there? And it was me. Oh, Jesus Christ. But I really hope I didn't make Henry lose that position as we got Johnny Knight off the track. Did some great racing at the start to get some positions up, but now he's all the way at the back. Can he fight his way back as we got the Paul Harrison and Gabby fighting? Gabby almost going down the inside of Paul Harrison, but now she's going to go down the inside on this corner. Great work by Gabby there. And now she goes to the other right-hander and is going to cement that position in front of Paul Harrison. Not quite sure how them two can't quite remember how them two finished in the qualifying, but looks like Gabby is a bit of a, she is the faster driver at the moment compared to Paul. I think ahead. Thomas Munt catching up to Henry. We're going to stay on board with Gabby. There we go. Now we're on board with Thomas, who is hunting down Henry. Goes a bit wide and goes onto the AstroTurf. But so does Jane in front of Henry. Oh, it's like Gabby's lost the position to Paul. Paul's fighting back for that position. And now Gabby has to watch out for White Benedictus. Go 3 cars down this straight as we come up to the 130R. Going to be quite a difficult corner. If you're following, you're going to get a really good slipstream. But we're going to switch over to Henry, who is trying... Oh, there's a bit of a cut. But I think that's Henry losing a bit there. Losing a bit of time. and cutting the thing, and then he's got Thomas right up his horse. As we come back to these three, the Porsche, the McLaren and the AMG. On to the next lap as we watch Thomas go around the outside of Henry, but not quite. Looks at it on turn 1. Doesn't quite make the manoeuvre though. Is going to try and cement his position now. Going to switch up. Oh, that's a weird crash for Paul. I think he might have tapped the grass a bit. Somehow Gabby stuck it up, and there's another crash. That's Thomas, who's crashed as well. Gabby's got 2 positions in the space of like 3 corners. Tom's going to go back on the track nice and safely though. No problem for theirs. Johnny, as we just saw, got his a position back after his big incident. So it's AD still in front, a whopping 3 seconds in front of Jay and Pash Potato. Then Henry, who had a bit of a battle between Thomas. Not quite sure what happened. If there was a bit of contact, I'm not quite sure. Wasn't watching. I cannot be the judge of that. But we will see what happens. Then behind Henry is Gabby. Full seconds, 7 seconds, as I was going to say. Behind Henry. Oh, okay, never mind. I think Gabby's had a bit of an off. Maybe, yeah, she has. There she is in Johnny Knight's view. But now we're going board with Thomas, who had that massive incident. He's going to get on the inside, not getting quite enough room though. Johnny closing out the track in front of Thomas. But can Thomas get it back onto the straights? We're doing on a Lambo's got a superior. So the superior front top speed. Oh, this Gabby has a bit of a nibble at the grass there as we go through 130R. About 5 cars in this race right now. Some great racing going on here. A lot of incidents though. It's not the best racing. Some great racing, but not the best racing, if you catch my drift. It's like Henry did actually get in front of Jane for a bit then, but Jane lost out. I mean, Henry lost out again to Jane. Oh, there we go. I'll be yawned right now apparently. As Gabby's got a bit of a queue behind her. Oh, Thomas maybe had an incident. He's going to go well up into the arse of Johnny Knight. Doing really good racing now. Not quite sure why I keep saying really good racing. Oh, as Thomas goes a bit wide. Lovens today there from the Lamborghini. But Gabby's still ahead of this train. As Thomas does actually get in front of Johnny Knight, but it is the fight of the pit, the track right now. I almost said the fight of the pits. That'd be really good if it was fights in the pits during a race. Looks like Thomas is going to go right up the arse of the Porsche. He's going to look down the inside, but can't quite fit his... oh, Jesus Christ, that's a really nice send on the outside. Not quite sure it's going to work, though. Might even lose out a bit to Johnny. It's not... There's a... We'll have a sneak listen to radio. Maybe there might be some gossip going on as I go for a piss. Then I can actually fill up the silence as the pause goes really wide. Almost blue flag wide. Almost blue flag pushing Johnny off the thingy. But we're going to go into the thingy, so I'll go for a piss. And
Sound resumed.
Right, so there's absolutely no talking going on then. In the TeamSpeak, some great conversation going on now. Mute the sound again. And I will be busy on my phone. So you guys talk amongst yourself. There we go, right. So we've only had 10 minutes of the race, 10 minutes and a minute of the race, and already quite a lot has happened. I've probably missed quite a lot as well. AD's still in first. Oh, that's a big derft. That's a big derft from Johnny Knight, and some positions gained from him, but all the way back down to 9th place. Eddie is still in first place as the LMP car. Lee goes really wide there. Not quite sure what happened now. I was looking at the scoreboard. Something was probably captured on the YouTubes. Right, I will keep trying to say what I was trying to say. So I always get interrupted by things happening. Really annoying that things are actually happening. There we go. Lee gets past Paul Harrison. It's blocked off by Gabby there as he tries to find his way around her. Does so nice and fine. Eddie is in first place, 3 seconds in front of JN. That gap does seem to be coming down a bit. Not quite sure if that's just because of where they are on the track, but does look something a bit. Blah, blah, blah. So then it's followed by Henry Spencer, who's a whopping 9 seconds behind JN. Big gap opened up there. And then White's, who was at the back for a bit, definitely his redemption arc is at the top right now. But he's still 13 seconds behind Henry if he wants to get up onto the podium. And then following Benedictus is Limon Thomas, who is 2.5. Almost 3 seconds. Oh, Thomas has gone off. Maybe something happened. Am I just very confused right now as things are happening and I'm not even noticing them? Right. Benedictus, then Thomas, then Gabby, then Paul Harrison, and then Johnny Knight as we are watching him right now. But we're on board with Lee, and that shows how boring things are right now, because we're on board with Lee. There's no gaps to speak of at all. Unless people have a crash, literally nothing will change. Smallest gap right now is at 1.1, and that's what we're looking at right now. That's how autocam does work, Wanny. So that is what's happening, and it does actually come down a bit. Thomas behind White's Weist. And I'm quite sure why this isn't doing anything. Okay, there we go. Not quite sure, for some people it's not working, but for Gabby it is working now. As we are on board with Gabby De Luca. He's been followed by Paul Harrison coming up to 139. Those are the very, very, very broken lights on this version of Suzuka. Oh, something happened and I wasn't looking. Thomas got in front of Benedictus and Gabbett got in front of Paul. It is unheard of in this endurance series that someone has overtaken someone. And Wani was watching it. I actually wasn't watching it, I was looking at my phone. But we do have Jayan up on the arse of Eddie. This is the fight for the first place. Oh my fucking god. Something is happening. Let me get my bottle opener. I opened this beer. Oh, there we go. Hope you heard that. Opening beers. Oh Jesus, that was stronger than I thought it'd be. I assume something's happening. Nothing's happening. Lee's in the pits. There we go. And that's proof for your column. I was on my phone constantly. Right. Let's actually watch the racing because something might happen. Something happened. Gabby lost the position to Paul. Paul is steaming up the field and now is hunting down Whites. Benedictus. But the fight right now is between these two. This is the biggest fight going on. I'm assuming that the camera will change every now and again because the fight is going on right now as we have to simulate. There we go. We have to simulate F1. The director of F1. Because something did happen on the scoreboard then. But we're not going to watch what happened. We're just going to watch these two. But now we're going to watch these two. In Jayan and Adi. Let's go through the really, as I said before, really nice right-handers, and I really do enjoy it. As we go through the hairping left-hander, JN right up the arse. But as is Leak, will this throw a spanner in the works? Will we make things a bit more difficult? Oh, that's really nice and close. That's what I like to see in this endurance series. Nice and close racing. As JN behind AD, I think JN might have the speed advantage. Will he do anything with it? He'll have the drafting as we see the beautiful lights of the Suzuka as we go through 130R. That's some nice track limits from JN there. Totally, all four wheels were totally in line there. And to be fair, he actually did do that that time. Usually I think people do abuse the shit out of that. But not this time. I feel like some fair racing's going on. He's going to get the slipstream on this pit straight. Is he going to do anything about it? He's not. He's just going to stay up his ass. There is an hour to go. Plenty of opportunity to put off AD in doing anything at all. Like crashing, pitting. Scaring the shit out of him. Going around the outside on this corner, which you probably shouldn't go on the outside of. No, yeah, the lights bug on this track is different as we go through the left-handed hairping. Hopefully we can stay on board and I can explain some of the lights bugs. There we go. Lights bugs. We are happening. Oh Jesus fucking Christ! That are happening on this track. That we lovely updated. Because I assume that the old other version doesn't have lights on. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, we have sponsorship that aren't actually paying me anything, which is slight. Actually, I don't want a Heineken. I'll have a Rolex. That's fine. Oh, Jane has a look on the outside. Gonna go right in the arse of him. He's gonna get a really good slipstream. He's gonna go to the inside 130R. Probably not a good time to talk about the lights bugs. He's got on the inside. There's lights bugs. The lights bugs there. He goes really wide there. He's gonna go down the inside. This side cam that we've got right now is really useful. We can see everything that's happening as Eddie goes down. Oh, Jesus Christ. If only someone would develop a better auto cam, Callum. I'm not talking about anyone, Callum, but Callum, if you could, Callum. Please develop a better Callum and a better Callum cam. But as we have Jayan going the inside of the first corner, finally get something going and we can finally actually see what is happening. As you can see, the bright brake discs on these GT3 cars, putting on immense pressure onto them brakes, them beautiful carbon brakes. But it looks like Jane might try and pull away now, but Eddie is right up his ass still. But yeah, looks like JN is getting a bit of a gap as he goes. Definitely not all four wheels off the track. We're definitely we're on board with Gabby right now. She gets past Paulus, and it looks like we have actually lost Johnny Knight through disconnecting. Definitely up and down for Johnny through that race. I feel like it's a bit of a burden if you do leave, because I do actually review your race. As we get a phone call from the girlfriend. Should I answer? Probably should answer. I'll mute my mic while I answer. Enjoy the sounds of the shit GT3 cars. Right, we are back. I hope I scared the shit out of you. Apparently I've missed some fighting going on. By the looks of it, fuck all's happened. Everyone's in the same positions. I think only thing that's been on the screen is Gabby and Paul fighting. Paul's versus McLaren. Gabby kind of cuts the corner a tiny bit. But who the fuck cares? No one's counting at her. No one's counting at her. I was going to night time. Gabby did complain about nighttime. Said she can't see anything in the nighttime. This is a fucking revelation for me. Who the fuck knew that you couldn't see anything in the nighttime? But as Gabby's opening up a bit, I think Gabby's actually learning the track finally after 30 minutes. But there's the creeping LMP car out behind him. As it goes wide into the gravel trap. Thank fuck Lee's got no thank fuck Lee is trying really hard in this LMP class. As fuck it, we'll listen to the team radios.
Sound resumed.
Yeah, well, fuck's happening. It actually goes 6-0 to England, if anybody's actually Yes, I don't like talking. Oh, that's a crashed Lamborghini on the side of the road, and I think that is Thomas going all the way to the back of the pack. Yeah. As I keep saying, it is an hour and 30 minutes race. Anything can happen. Jane could send it up into the stands, never be able to get out. I could finish last, and Thomas could put the most consistent race ever and come first. So anything can happen in an hour. People could fall asleep. Getting quite late here. No, it's not. It's only 9 o'clock in my evening. Got fucking plenty of time to party. But we are now on board with Gabby and Paul. Gap still staying around the same. About the half second and a second get difference between you both. Now for some reason I'm on board with Henry. The closest person is 5 seconds in front of him, so I have no idea why we're watching him. But fuck it, let's watch Henry go around this corner. He brakes really hard for this hairpin. Maybe it's Lee. Maybe Lee's coming up. No, he's not. He kind of is, actually. But definitely the smallest gap is between Gabby and Paul. This Lee goes really wide. Maybe want to see what the track's like out there. That's his excuse, probably. But yeah, these three cars are getting quite close to each other. Gabby's definitely not as good braking there as Paul did. Paul gained a real lot of time. Up to Gabby as we go through Spoon, the beautiful little spoony corner. Going up onto the back straight, long straight, which should help those cars with the top speed. But the downforce will help in 130R, which I can't actually quite remember. Oh, looks like Paul's going to go down the outside of 130R. But side by side down 130R, and Gabby goes very, very wide. Both of them do, actually. Both go very wide, both abusing the track limits. Paul might have a look on the inside. Paul's actually going down the wrong track. Nobody's got. Is that the pit? Is that the pits? I don't think that's the pits. I think Paul just thought, fuck it, I'll make my own track. But Why does that keep happening? Benedictus? I don't feel like he did overtake Gabby and Harrison. So maybe the what's the fucking thing called? ACTV was a bit broken. Maybe that's the whole problem with everything. As we do actually put a ban to Captain actually what's his oh shit, oh actually what's,
Please no condescenderino, Captain.
yeah, I feel like I have to ban you from chat. For saying, do you know Halo's coming out to PC in December? We do know that. They did promise us that this year. I'm actually kind of surprised they actually did fulfill the promise. As I was expecting a delay for a game that came out about 6 years ago. Alexa, when did Halo Reach come out?
Halo Reach was released on the 14th of September 2010 and it is available
2010?
on Xbox 360.
9 years ago. Thanks, Alexa. Shut up now. 9 years ago that game came out, and they've only just decided, fuck it, we'll add it to PC because people actually play on PC now, so we might get that money. But enough of that. Enough of that game that I'll probably unfortunately buy. I mean, Halo Reaches are fucking... Whoa! Don't you fucking thumbs down me! I'll cry. Don't make me fucking cry. If you thumbs down me, I'll cry. Fed up of being thumbs down. But as I was gonna say before I looked at that message, Halo Reach was a fucking amazing game. I feel like it was underrated in the gaming scene. I feel like I'm being a prick right now. It was definitely underrated. People were like, and I think, is it George? George was a fucking lad. It was my boy. And he, spoiler alert, jumped out of a fucking thing to blow himself up or some shit like that. As we see the broken lights on Suzuka. Model JM, who's 33 seconds in front of the person behind him, and a lap behind Lee. So, I'm not quite sure why we're on board with him. Maybe because there's no fucking gaps close right now. Thanks, Callum. Gotta make it even, don't you? Gotta be perfectly balanced. Let's get a beautiful shot of those trees. And a great shot of this. According to Brad earlier, thought Gabby was in a Porsche. Apparently, Gabby is in a Porsche. Not quite sure, but I think that's a weird looking Porsche that we're looking at right now. There's a bit battered and bruised. But definitely, everyone's going out of track limits there on 130R as that car decides, mate, fuck it, we'll go to the AstroTurf. See what it's like. Probably a bit shit. But the gap's definitely closing down a bit now. As we are under an hour now. We've not even done this for half of the time. I'm already over halfway through my beers. I haven't started my wine yet. Depends how far we get, but these three cars are all racing. Things are happening. Why did you say over channel? Ah, alright, yeah.
Channel switched. Microphone activated.
What?
User joined your
Wanny D on the live stream.
Oh shit, wait.
Incredible action happening so far.
Wait. Do I have a co-commentator?
A co-commentator. Wanny D temporarily has a co-commentator.
Why only temporarily?
because I have life tomorrow, so I'm going to go to bed at some point.
But are you in game?
But I'm
He's joining
hopping in.
Well, no, we have actually got a fight going on in this race.
Incredible job.
If you look at the crowd, they're always staring at you. It's really weird and scary. Gabby is actually under threat.
How's the wine,
Jesus
Denny?
Christ. I ain't
How's the
started the
wine?
wine yet.
You haven't started the wine yet? What are you on?
Mr. President. Is my ping bad?
We're
No, my
your ping,
my
no?
ping's fine. Okay. Did Gabby just overtake Paul? I don't know, I wasn't looking. But, that's White's going off wide into the chicane bit.
Oh,
Gabby's going to get a position. So is Paul.
Incredible overtake from Gabby.
Oh, Joe, you fuck. This is why I don't have a co-commentator, because your internet is shit.
My internet's so bad, but it's such a good race.
Gabby is going to get the P5 in this long, long race that will never fucking end. Have you got any ideas for the next endurance? Any races that are going to come up, Joe, after this for Assetto Corsa servers.com?
Well, in January there is Daytona.
Yeah.
We can turn left.
Left.
Other than that, though,
But
I
is
don't know.
IRL Daytona then?
Yeah, I think it's in January. Or is it in February?
I don't know. 1 second. Keep talking, unfortunately. Girlfriend is ringing. Burp.
Oh, I see. Well, it looks like we now have a new primary commentator, as we see Gabby is now the leader of this train of three. I hope that that's what you're seeing on stream, because I have no control over the cameras. Gabby is defending well from the cars behind her, who do seem to have slightly more pace than her. But clearly the racecraft is in her favour. A beautiful night here in Suzuka. A bit of mist on the horizon, with those flames coming out of the McLaren, lighting up the air around this beautiful track. Some incredible action here in the Assetto Corsa Servers Endurance Series 2019, the finale of the 2019 season. As usual, Lee out in front, the only LMP1 on track at the moment, followed by Jayan in the GT3. The Huracan, clearly the fastest car on track. Absolutely nothing to do with skill. Jayan simply has an overpowered car. We've got Henry in P3. I assume that Henry is not near anybody else, because Henry actually can't race other people. He's allergic. He has to just stay in no man's land all race long. We then have AD in the 488. The 488, of course. Terrible car. So, no idea why he's driving that. Followed by Gabby and this train with Paul Harrison behind her rather. Gabby is, of course, female. And that is the correct pronoun to be using. The disco lights coming off the Ferris wheel there, I'm not sure whether you can see those on stream, but on my screen those disco lights are far too bright. And it looks like a fireworks display is permanently going on around that Ferris wheel as we come down to these fast right-handers that I've forgotten the name of, coming up towards the hairpin. Gabby does seem to be pulling out a bit of a gap. Let's see if she can maintain that. A little bit of damage to her front bumper there. Looks like she's had some rub in his racing earlier on in the race. Here on Not the Stream, we have a beautiful onboard shot of Gabby's front left brake disc glowing in the night. And an onboard shot here of the cockpit, which is lit up blue, because Gabby is always having a party while driving. It does seem like this battle has seemed to die down for now, so we're going to skip over to check in on AD in the 488. Seems to be in no man's land. A purple cockpit camera for AD. Cockpit light, sorry. Beautiful colour choice. Goes very well with the disco Ferris wheel as he comes out onto the straight to start yet another lap. This will be his 21st lap that he's going on to now. Maintaining 4th position. Quite a big gap ahead and quite a big gap behind. Henry Spencer, meanwhile, coming through the S's. Approximately 11 seconds ahead of 80. Meanwhile, Jayan is basically in a different continent. Clearly cheating. If we look at the lap time so far, we'll see that AD's managed a 2:03.6 on the softs. He's the only... he seems to be the only GT3 car on softs. An interesting choice from AD. Equally interesting is the choice by Jayan to once again go with the hard tyres. Jayan has an affinity for tyres that are made of concrete. Previous races, we've had him driving on breeze blocks. He's driven on a set of Lego tyres made entirely of plastic. Today he's decided to use metal tyres, the hardest tyres that he could find. And I'm sure they're serving him well. Hence why his lap time is not actually as fast as AD's, despite him having a ridiculous pace advantage. Hence his lead.
That's some controversial shit
Danny,
there. What the fuck happened to AD?
There's not... AD, I don't know whether anything happened to AD as far as I'm aware. He's always been quite far behind
Did I just
Henry.
completely miss that he was in 3rd place?
Why, where was he? He's in 4th. Where was he before?
Technically 3rd, that's discountly. But yeah.
I'll have you know that Lee is well deserving this victory. If we go on board
He's
with Lee
actually
Crossley
going
now, we'll see him coming out. See him coming out the
Autocam
hairpin.
perfectly.
A beautiful exit. As he comes down towards Spoon. Lee Crossley, a deserving winner of this series so far. Currently leading the championship by 1 point from myself, despite having completed one more race than me. But looks like he'll just be able to clinch the championship with this epic performance here at Suzuka. If we go back to the battle between Henry and AD, AD does seem to be closing in on Henry.
Well, yeah, AD was in 1st place for quite a long time. And then...
in front of Pached Motato.
in front of the famous Pached Motato.
Incredible. Pached Motato, Japanese driver on home turf here, looking for a victory.
2 laps behind Lee. Maybe make that 1 lap, actually.
Clearly the inferior driver.
Yeah. 44
a whole lap behind
44
the
seconds in front of Henry. I feel like Henry could pick that up there.
I mean, it's anybody's race at this point. I was just telling the viewers before about Jayan's interesting choice of tyres. He seems to be on the hards again. I don't know whether he knows his alphabet.
I did when I was looking at the qualifying. I feel like he qualified on hards.
I don't think he did. No, because he did a 2:01.
Okay.
So it was already a 2-minute point.
Yeah,
something,
did
and there's
2 minutes.
absolutely no way he did that on hards.
All I'm saying is, when I looked at the scoreboard, he said he was on hards.
Well, he'll have changed, won't he?
Okay.
He'll have done some long runs at the end of qualifying, getting a little bit of extra practice in. If we check in with Gabby again, has she pulled out a gap on
yes.
Wits?
Is Wits behind? Is White's behind Gabby?
He's apparently so. Oh no, it is Paul. Oh no, Paul's behind Jayan on track. I think people have pitted. I'm so confused.
Okay, according to me, are you ready? It's
Yep.
Jayan. Oh, then
Yep.
AD now, because AD's just got in front of Henry, because Henry is in the pits.
Okay, I think that your app pulls from real time rather, whereas I'm using the leaderboard, which updates every time people cross the line. So currently the standings are: Lee Crossley, a well-deserving first place, just crossed the line to start his 26th lap, followed by Jayan Mystery in the Huracan GT3. A poor performance from him. A whole 3 laps down from the leader. Henry Spencer, then, in the 650S, just pulling out of the pit lane. Seemed to have done a little stop onto the mediums. We've got AD coming through to finish the last sector. He's in 4th position, followed by White's Benedictus in the AMG, just pulling into the pit lane now, with Gabby close behind, has just pitted behind him. So it's a race of the pit stop crews here, with Gabby and
Whites.
Witze. Gabby has had a much shorter pit stop there. She pulls straight out of the pit lane. I wonder if the Mercedes pit crew have had a problem, because the McLaren seem to have a much cleaner stop.
That's unusual for
Or
McLaren
maybe-
as well.
Or maybe that McLaren is just really good on fuel and Gabby doesn't need to fuel up quite as much. Jayan now coming into turn 1 amongst all this traffic. For some reason, Gabby parking the car to get out of the way. An interesting strategy there
So
in
that'd
terms
be
of getting
great
out of the way
if
of
the
traffic.
camera angle there was great for what just happened. Not on the side cam of the car.
It does look like Gabby might have had a problem, actually. She's still driving off track and very slowly out of the way of everybody else. Has Gabby encountered a problem? She's been rear-ended by a Lamborghini.
Jesus fucking Christ.
An incredible development here. Gabby, one of the drivers on the Ascension, seems to have suffered what I can only assume is a laptop-related lag spike. As she resets to the pit. I think that might be Gabby's race over.
Lando-related
Disappointing.
pit crew.
Yeah, looks like the pit crew did not affix her wheel to her car. So that is a shame for the Spaniard in the McLaren.
She's gone to pits. Looks like it is going to be game over for Gabby, who has up
Unless
and down
she feels
race.
like getting going again. We'll see if she manages to get it going again.
Like,
Or if she
closest
just
gap,
leaves this as a retirement.
according to me right now, is between Paul Harrison and the person that Joe cannot pronounce, Benedictus. Whites. Benedictus.
Just coming through Spoon onto the back
Yeah.
straight.
Uh,
Yep. Jane pulling out ahead of them. Clearly the inferior driver.
yeah, a bit boring from Jane there.
Yeah.
It's got to ruin everything, really. For some reason, we're on board with AD as Lee looks out to overtake another GT3 car. Doing a great race from Lee here.
Coming around the hairpin here. Beautiful camera angles. As AD. I don't know really what your game looks like, because I can't say that I was watching the live stream. I was watching the Xbox live stream. But for me, at least, I've got some beautiful track lights here. I've got a very multicolored
Ferris wheel.
Ferris wheel. And all of the cockpit lights of all the cars are in very different colours. 80s is bright pink.
Yep.
And it is glorious.
I've got the...
A brilliant overtake.
Oh,
Lee.
wow.
I have never seen such skill.
Jeez.
Somehow on the exit of Spoon, up the inside. Incredible.
That man deserves first place. That's all I can say.
He really does. Gain still crawling around the track. Not sure why he's still there, to be honest. Bit of a waste of time. If we go back to the battle between AD and whoever's behind him, because it now
Henry?
says that Henry's
Henry's
behind him. So what happened to Mr. Benedictus?
It was never in it.
Oh, I see. We'll go back to the battle between Mr. Benedictus and
There
Mr.
you go.
Harrison.
That's the closest
Um,
battle. 2 seconds. Getting smaller.
Coming up towards the hairpin. Now that was a very close following there from Harrison towards the hairpin. He could have made the dive bomb had he thought about it. That was about 7 or 8 car lengths. That's well within the bounds of possibility from a driver into that hairpin. Of course, people will remember back in, I think, 2011 when Kamui Kobayashi made us all smile
Kobayashi.
by absolutely
fucking
ending
legend.
it into that hairpin. What a beautiful man. So
Is he-
smiley. We miss him.
What's he nowadays? Is he? He was. He did a bit of endurance racing, didn't he?
I think he may have done some WEC.
Yeah. I remember seeing
Let's,
his name.
I think we should pause for an update from Amazon Insights. Alexa,
Alexa, what is Kobayashi doing right now?
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Alexa,
unfortunately, Kamui Kobayashi has been lost to
Kobayashi.
the world. Even Amazon doesn't know who
Alexa,
he is anymore.
Kobayashi.
3500 Kobayashi A919 SD, the main belt asteroid discovered on September 18, 1919 by Kiwi and Myth at Heidelberg.
It seems that Kamui Kobayashi is so good at overtaking, he has actually become a meteor.
Yeah.
Incredible developments here at the 2019 Endurance Championship. Brought to you by Assetto Corsa servers. If you want an Assetto Corsa server, check out Assetto Corsa servers. I hear they're pretty great guys.
I don't do enough promoting on this stream.
You definitely don't. There's no such thing as too much promoting. I hear that that Callum fella is really struggling and he needs the money. So, back on board with Paul Harrison in the Porsche,
Tell you what,
chasing down that guy
I
in
have
the
got
AMG.
some news for you from someone by the name of
From Race Control.
Callum Jones.
We're getting
On the
news from
pit
Race
straight,
Control.
Eddie will be on the pit on a 2-stop apparently. He will soft, and then soft. That is 3 softs, Callum. Okay, 2-stop, yeah.
Yeah, that's
2 stops,
that-
yeah.
It's okay, Danny.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, so apparently Eddie's on the 2-stop. Not quite sure what everyone else will be on.
I would assume the 1-stop as people pitted in and around the 40-minute remaining mark. We now have 36 minutes remaining in this endurance race. Of course, there's 1 extra lap at the end, but we always forget about that.
Yeah, I wasn't listening to you, but yeah.
Paul Harrison is definitely closing in on...
Yeah, that guy.
Yep, him
The AMG.
in the AMG, the red AMG. Of course, if we go on board with him, we'll see that it is clearly the superior machine. A beautiful piece of German engineering, far superior to that stupid Porsche with the engine in the wrong place. An unfortunate retirement there from Johnny Knight,
Yeah.
driving the AMG. I saw that he was doing
He
quite
was,
well
yeah.
early on in the race. What happened there?
So it started off quite well, had a bit of ups and downs, did have some a bit of drifts every now and again, going off track. But I think he probably just had that one big incident that makes you go, fuck this shit, I'm off. Happens to all of us.
An unfortunate incident there. I did see him at one point, I think it was on the first lap, clipping the inside curb of, I believe the corner's called Dunlop, that last long left-hander coming out of the S's.
Oh yeah.
Probably not the place that you want to clip the curb. Now, considering that Gabby is now back on track,
3 laps behind apparently.
3 laps behind, we may well be able to find out some news. I'm going to go out into the field and see if I can get an interview with the driver. See what information that I can find. I will return shortly.
Oh.
User left your channel switched.
Gabby, what happened?
Well, I kind of did a pit stop, but I didn't. And then my computer just started lagging really, really bad.
Oh no!
Channel switched.
There we go, some great insight. from the on board there, from the radio as
User joined your channel.
yeah.
Very unfortunate there.
That was great as we on board with whites. We see some really other broken lights on this great Suzuka track.
Oh yeah, they do keep turning off and on.
It's not that they keep turning on for them. It's just after the 130R before the chicane. There's some very multicoloured lights that are literally on the track.
Oh yeah, I don't have that problem. Apparently Callum has that problem as well. But once again, clearly something to do with the superior technical intellect of myself being able to build a computer that works.
Yeah, I'm quite sure that's what that is. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sorry that. Yeah. Maybe I didn't plug that.
Back
Maybe
to the
I didn't.
racing
No,
anyway,
maybe
if
I
we
plugged
move
that
on
one
from that
fucking
point.
pin in. Sorry, Joe. Oh jeez, Gabby has a bit of an off. Avoidingly. Oh, she's. Oh my god.
Oh no.
Oh, she has a 1, a 2. Okay, that was 2 spins. That's a 720. Adding 180. Joe, do the maths. There you go.
I have no idea anymore. She's pointing in the wrong direction. Must be blinding the cars coming up to her. As AD doesn't see her and hits her on the pit straight. She's now lagged through the floor, I assume disconnected.
Yeah, she
what
was
has happened
disconnected.
there? AD has now destroyed his car.
Oh, Jesus.
How did he not notice that she was there?
Tell you, there was a big incident in the first lap. I'm guessing you didn't see it.
I did not.
Some idiot decided they was going to stay on the grid.
AD seems to have teleported back to the pits now,
Oh, that's
I think.
is he going to lose
not.
his...
He's disappeared from my screen. I've just got a shot of a wall. He's driving very slowly. He's found a gap in the barrier. Has he had a technical problem after that crash?
I can't seem to switch to him, so I'm guessing he's not on the track.
He is on the track. He's just fallen through the floor on the infield of the track. He is doing somersaults now, flying into the air. Danny, you are missing so much excitement
we're on
right
board
now.
with Benedictus.
That sounds like an epic race, Danny, but I must say that the anti-gravity technology provided by the Ferrari GT3 team is impressive.
Amazon works. No, yeah, that's what it was provided by. But as I was saying before, you rudely interrupted. Some dickhead decided not to return to pits on the first lap.
That doesn't sound like you, Denny.
So I may have been sat on the pit straight while people avoiding me.
Did anyone hear you?
No, people were avoiding me. I may have compromised Henry's race a bit, but I'm not quite sure. I might have to go back and speak to Henry.
I mean,
about
considering that Henry is, and now I assume in third because AD is
second,
flying into the Shadow Realm. Third.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Lee.
If we go on board with the leader, an incredible race here. I've never seen such brilliant driving as he comes up towards this battle for 7th, 6th and 5th rather, 5th and 6th. That's what a normal human being would say, coming up towards Spoon. The sun is now rising on the horizon. We're going to see some light around the track
Tell you what,
now. We can actually
whatever
see
they've put in that
what's going
Audi,
on.
I want it. Because
Clearly,
that Audi is on a different class. That's all I've got to say.
I think that next championship we're going to have to apply some BOP to that Audi. Maybe a 100% restrictor.
Oh, that's a bit lenient, I'd
Sounds
say,
about
but
right.
yeah.
As I'm not sure if it was lag or Lee's erratic driving, but it looked very much like Lee was going to crash into a wall just then on a straight.
Okay, maybe I've AD lag now because I am apparently spectating AD, but all I am looking at is the pits.
So if you press F1, you'll see that.
We're not on board with AD right now, but AD. Nope, I can't go back on board with AD.
Oh well, I don't really know what's going on with him, to be honest, but something terrible has happened.
Can you check people's ping in Discord?
I don't know, but we can find out.
I don't think you can.
Let's see if any message has been posted in the Discord.
He's sat by himself in the Discord. I was trying to see if he could check his ping, but I don't think he can.
He has not said anything. I could be roving reporter in the field, hop in the Discord and ask AD what is going on. I will return Wanny D once Assetto Corsa has tabbed out. And I will tell you what's going on.
Okay.
Danny, the mic's over to you.
Oh, no, it's me. Hi, I am Wanny. This is first time I've ever spoken on stream. Oh, AD is disconnected. That was great timing from Joe. As we get some in-flight entertainment from Gabby. She says, "Hi, I died." According to Gabby De Luca, she died. According, probably a laptop failure, or maybe she actually just absolutely fucked up. But we are now in the daytime. And not much is happening. We're down to 6 races on the track. 5.
I do have a response from AD. I went into Discord. I said, AD, what happened? Looked like a terrible incident there with Gabby. He said, which I thought was incredible insight there from AD. I think you might be AFK.
Thanks, that's some great insight from Joseph. This is what we paid the big bucks for.
Indeed, he has now disconnected from the server.
Okay, right.
Fair.
No, yeah,
So,
as soon as you
I
left
think-
into Discord, he did disconnect from the server.
Yeah, well, he's still in Discord, but he's obviously he's finished with this race. So obviously that incident down the pit straight with Gabby, whatever happened on his screen.
Actually,
clearly ended
let's
his race.
ruin.
User
Gabby,
was moved to your channel.
did you
Yeah.
kill AD?
What?
Right, so you know, first of all,
That was quite.
how did you
was quite
spin
direct.
down the straight? What happened?
Oh, my computer died, so my screen froze, but it kept going somehow. So I think I killed someone. Yeah.
Oof.
So what happened from our perspective was, you span out all of your own accord in a straight line, parked on the pit straight,
Right.
facing oncoming traffic.
Oh, God.
Your lights were on my screen, so you were very visible. And AD obviously didn't see you for whatever reason. Maybe
Oh,
the
no.
lights weren't on his screen and plowed into you at about
We do have some information here.
60 miles an hour.
From it, what I'm assuming is AD in the chat of the YouTube saying there was a car across the track on the pit straight, and I went into him.
And I went into it. Oh no.
Oh no, this
I
is
literally like my screen just froze, but somehow it still kept it going. But I couldn't do I didn't know where I was going, so I crashed and then stopped right in the middle. But I couldn't do anything. I couldn't literally even move my mouse. Everything was free.
So, as we get some information
you
there
must-
from Gabby uses a mouse to control her.
I went to edit, you know.
This is Gabby DeLuca here driving for McLaren
Using a
here in
mouse.
the Endurance Series 2019. One of the only mouse users on the grid. An
Yeah,
incredible
mouse and a
talent, of
keyboard,
course.
guys.
Gabby, after that crash, how do you think it affects your championship hopes for the rest of this season?
Really
That's what we
badly.
thought. Very difficult for you to win the championship now. Do you blame your team for that terrible pit stop?
I mean, 100%. Yeah.
Classic McLaren.
Oh, wait, oh,
Always
wait, I think
fucking
you see
over the
I see
Spanish
Hamilton.
driver.
User was moved out of your channel.
Right. Literally,
If we go
fuck
back on
all
board with Lee,
is happening.
a deserving leader. 34 laps into this race. Well, almost 35 now. Coming to finish up his 35th lap, coming through 130R. Somehow taking it flat out in that brilliant Audi.
Unknown for GT3s.
An incredible lockup there into the chicane. All four wheels. Completely locked. Clearly a tactic.
Yeah, I'm gonna
that
say
we,
Lee. It's a different driving style for Lee. Yeah, seems the best. I don't know why. For no one else, it's like this, but he is best locking all his wheels up.
So one interesting thing about Lee's driving style is that he doesn't seem to realise that turn 1 and 2 have apexes. He instead likes to use the runoff on the outside, which I think, it's an interesting approach that I don't think anybody else on the grid is really attempting at this point.
Tell you what, it's the smallest gap. It still is Paul, and it still is Benedictus.
It's a very small gap, isn't it,
It
coming
is.
back onto the pit straight to start their 31st lap of this race.
What a
That AMG there taking a very
yeah,
odd,
no, yeah,
odd
it was
line.
a definitely different line. Try to have
In the background, though,
well, wait, what is
Thomas Hamoon
3 seconds behind? 4 seconds behind. Apparently.
closing in on this group.
Oh,
if
Jesus
I'm not
Christ.
mistaken, using
Good.
that excellent line through turn 2. That is obviously where he's gaining his time. For some reason, that car has no audio for me. I guess we'll never know why.
Yeah, well, spectating does have its weird bugs. I feel like the pitch side microphones, as I would say in football, do have its...
That is what we are racing on. We are racing on the famous Suzuka pitch.
The pitch side microphones sometimes don't pick up things, especially Lamborghinis, as we go through as
famously quiet Lamborghinis.
These nice right-handers as everyone cuts the corner apparently.
A beautiful line there on the second of those right-handers coming up towards the hairpin now. Paul Harrison doesn't know where the apex
I
is.
tell you what, it is really nice to see 3 different constructors fighting out for something, rather than just one constructor taking everything. We have a Lamborghini,
Classic
we have a
midfield,
Mercedes, and we have a Porsche. 2 of them are German, but fuck the Germans. Am I right? Yeah. Huh. Right.
I agree. Meanwhile, the podium battle, as usual, extremely boring.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. Fuck yeah. Fuck shit.
One far superior driver running away with it compared to everybody else. So it seems that, just like in real racing, we have a particularly disappointing race here. Now, honestly, I am rooting for, I think you pronounce it, Thomas Herman in the Lamborghini Huracan. The electric car, as we can hear. Doing it for the environment, thinking of the polar bears. Polar bears, that is how you pronounce them.
I think once he gets his revs up, he can kind of hear something. So I'm assuming he's got a 1 litre maybe?
I do believe that he has the same engine as my Clio.
We got a bit of a spin kind of from Paul Harrison there, so that's going to get the gap up a bit more. It's gone.
That is a very close gap. This is yeeting distance. If he can maintain this gap all the way to the chicane at the end of the lap, definitely
we're doing it calm down with his terminology. That's what I'm apparently.
That's what they call me.
That's why I keep
in the
saying,
field.
not because I fucked up the saying.
My commentator name is Terminologio.
That's what.
Today's bit of Terminologio.
Tell you what.
Yeeting distance.
Half a second now. It is yeetable.
That is thoroughly yeetable within DRS.
And the more these two fight, the more Thomas can gain on them. It is now only a second.
Indeed.
As they come through the hairpins, going up towards Spoon. But first you have to go through this long right-hander.
It's incredible that after 70 minutes of this race, we still have such close racing here in the most important battle.
An hour ago I was saying there's an hour left. Well, an hour and 20 minutes left, but yeah, anything can happen.
That is how time works. As we move onto the back straight towards 130R, can the AMG keep up with that Porsche on a straight line? We're not sure what wing levels they're using, but I will say that Porsche looks to have a very skinny wang.
What is better with the same wang?
I think the AMG, but don't quote me on that. Although the Huracan.
Well, it depends who goes. It depends who goes outside of track limits. As the AMG didn't go out of track limits, but all the fucking other two did.
I do believe, Danny, that you don't know what you're talking about, and that is simply the racing line. So let's move on towards turn 1 now. Can he gain down this straight? It looks like maybe the Huracan is using the least wing here, with the AMG using the most, and that Porsche seems to have a nice balance. Perhaps losing a little bit of time through the first sector, but throughout the rest of the lap, really maintaining that gap, being able to defend from the AMG behind, especially as now the Huracan is going to be attacking him.
I'll tell you what, this has been probably the best viewing of all the race, these 3 cars. They've been up and down, but they've always been together. Maybe Gabby's been in between them. Maybe Johnny's been in between them. Maybe probably someone else has been between them. I've completely forgotten. But at least there's some fighting going on.
I'll tell you what, this is what I'm in the commentary game for.
As we see.
When I first, as a boy, wrote down in a primary school class what I wanted to be when I was older was an esports commentator, this is what I envisaged. As he yeets it round the outside, but absolutely does nothing because it was from far too far back. But Thomas Hanern clearly having a go here. Can he ever go into Spoon? You do not overtake on the inside of Spoon, as Sebastian Vettel found out a couple of years ago in Formula 1. Can he make it stick? No, he can't. He has to hang it around the outside.
Have the superior speed,
but
though.
He's going to be thoroughly in that slipstream coming down towards 130R. Will he brave it into 130R if he can get close enough?
We have seen a couple of side-by-sides in 130R. He's got to go down the inside. He looks, but he backs out. He backs out.
He gave it a look. A brave look there.
MG goes at the track limits for once. The Lamborghini does actually keep it in the track limits to go through the chicane. Just go through another lap.
Almost thought about cutting the chicane there, the Lamborghini. I saw him just think about unwinding the steering. But back in that slipstream as we come down onto the straight. This looks like an overtake to me. Danny, take it away.
I was drinking. No. Oh, they got side by side. It's turn one. That's a superior braking from Lamborghini. Oh, go really wide though.
Taking the superior line there through turn one. A beautiful piece of racing. I've never seen such skill before. Into the S's now. The Huracan did, of course, overtake and then completely abuse track limits. If this was my race to be officiating, that would certainly be a please give the place back to the car behind. But last time I got told off by Callum for using the feature that he built on his server to be able to send messages to people. Let's
not shit talk the admins though, because the AssettoCorsaServers.com is a great place to buy your servers from, and Server Manager is a great utility.
It is indeed, as we can
also,
see by
I'll tell
this
you what,
racing here. Will the AMG
Heineken is a great lager.
I'll tell you what, if I was thirsty right now, I would certainly be flying Emirates. As we come down towards Spain now, will the AMG be able to catch up with the Huracan? We are not entirely sure.
Check your time.
Danny. Take my time for what?
Have you got your Rolex on? Because it's Rolex. Check your time for Rolex. If you've got a Rolex, check your time. As we
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Assetto Corsa servers Rolex Check Your Time break. If everybody can now look at their Rolex now and check the time, you'll see that there's only 15 minutes left in this race.
10 minutes
that was
for the pits to be closed. I'm going to go for one.
That was the Check Your Time break, brought to you by Rolex during this Assetto Corsa servers 2019 Endurance Series Championship Suzuka Race Grand Prix.
I'll tell you what.
Featuring
I can't move
servers.
Henry. I was going to annoy Henry.
I think that Henry would actually be genuinely mad if you did that. So
let's annoy JN.
Meanwhile, though, is the Huracan going to be able to overtake
There's actually something happening.
Oh! Up the inside into turn one. A beautiful track limits abuse there from the Huracan. Clearly hasn't learned his lesson on the brakes into turn one.
If it works, you're going to do it and do it again. If no one's going to penalise it for you, he's going to do it and do it again. As we've got 4 cars coming through the S's, looks like Lee's going to screw shit up again. He's going to try and find his way around, but looks like gaps are going to open again. If Lee...
Luckily, because of my manual use of selecting who to spectate, I am not looking at Lee. I am looking at the person that we're all rooting for, and that is Pashed Matato coming up behind this pack now.
I feel like we could hear something from Pashed Matato. You ready?
I'm hearing a little bit of team radio here. Pashed Matato to his pit crew.
So, Jane, how's your rest?
Brilliant insight there from Matato as he closes in on this set of back markers.
It's been pretty dull so far. That's all I can say. Had a quick battle with Adi at the start, and that's about it really. Bringing it home.
So, what has happened to your pace in this race? It looks like Lee's really running away with this one. Are you struggling to keep up?
Must be something to do with that different engine. I don't know what else it could be.
I do think that this year's regulations really have benefited Audi, and we're not entirely sure why.
Oh, Carwev.
Jay, an interesting choice of tyre in this race. Do you have an affinity for bricks on your wheels, or was that an accidental choice once again?
Hards to hards. Can't go wrong.
I see. An interesting strategy decision there from the Lamborghini team. Jay, as you pass some of these slower GT3 cars, have you been aware of any of the battles going on track?
Nope.
So you missed some excitement earlier, which we're going to tell you about in great detail here, so that you have zero brain power left to concentrate on your racing.
Really hope you can hear me eating, because it's really annoying everyone. Really hope it. Thanks. Anyway, bye.
AD out, despite being spun stationary on the straight, right in the middle of the track, in plain view. Unfortunately, AD had nowhere to go, because I guess she was invisible on his screen, I assume. Jayan, if you had punted Gabby, what would you have shouted?
Without saying the word pooter.
Terrible language here from Jayan. No doubt that will be a reprimand after the race.
I've been banned in all of Spain. Thanks, Jayan. Fucking hell, there goes on my fucking ad review. Oh, Jesus Christ, there's been a crash.
Someone having dents.
Somehow Thomas came on top of that. Not quite sure what was happening because I was shouting at JN.
Typical Jayan. That's all I can say.
Punter. I said punter.
No,
is that what you said?
Jane,
okay. Well, you can tell that to the FIA committee.
User was moved out of your channel.
Clearly an inappropriate driver there.
Christ.
I don't know what it is about the locker room talk of these drivers nowadays.
That is 6 point on his license there.
100%. I'm pretty sure that puts him very close to a race ban.
Is it? What's it called? The race license? What's it? Is it race license?
The super license.
Super license. That's the word. That sounds so fucking weird, though.
It's like a normal license, but super.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, well, I feel like we had like 9 to start with. Now we've only got 6 races on the fucking track.
Very important piece of commentary here as I send Danny a link. Something that he will no doubt find funny and not be able to really share with the stream.
Unfortunately, we've had some back chat in chat from DeLuca Racing.
DeLuca Racing, saying, that doesn't ring a bell.
I am offended, JN.
Sounds like we've got some controversy here from Jayan's interview. We'll no doubt have some post-race interviews with all of the drivers to make sure that this drama is indeed real and able to be exploited on social media for our game.
We will edit it to our... yeah.
Yeah, we will make sure that everybody looks like an arsehole, apart from Lewis Hamilton. So, getting back to the racing here, it looks like Jayan's actually managed to get round the hairpin this time as we come on board with Benedictus as he comes out of that hairpin, chasing down the blue Huracan, the blue electric Huracan of Thomas Hernan. Paul Harrison, of course, bringing it up the rear after a disappointing bit of racing there.
You know what? Paul is quite a fast racer.
Really
I am disappointed by Paul. In the final race.
We expected a lot coming into this race. Saw some great racing from him earlier on.
Tell you what, let's
seems to be struggling.
Bring up on the stream if I can actually see where my mouse is or where Google is. The championship standings.
The championship standings here brought to you by AssettoCorsaServers.com. If you want to rent an Assetto Corsa server, go to AssettoCorsaServers.com. That's AssettoCorsaServers.com for all your Assetto Corsa servers.
There you go. That'll bring us up on the Google standings. We got championships and the. Well, actually, let's go back to the main page. Oh, tell you what, I really like this UI. This UI is really nice.
Whoever made this UI must be a very talented developer.
And if I like.
And should definitely buy a house and rent me a room. Danny, who is winning the championship at the moment?
Well, I could conveniently press on the championships button there. Oh, that brings me to all the championships that are on here. And then the first one is convenient. Tell you what, Joe, conveniently, it's the last one that was used.
What is that? What is the last one that was used?
This one that's going on right now.
Is it the Assetto Corsa Service Endurance Championship 2019? Incredible development here from AssettoCorsaService.com.
Currently, unfortunately, it's live. It's live timings. There's no live. But
so,
weirdly,
are you saying that the live timings from AssettoCorsaService.com are indeed live, giving us live timings?
There's no live championships.
There's no live championship points. No, I know, but that's because Callum hasn't written the feature yet. But he's currently writing down a note to say that he's going to do that.
He's going to do it. All right, there's not.
If you just listen, you can hear Callum saying, "Yeah, I'm going to do that in a second." Yeah, that was Callum saying he's going to do it.
Right. So Lee is going to win the LMP1. No one gives a shit about that. Right. GT3.
Wait, I don't understand. What's LMP1?
I don't know. First in GT3 is Lee Crossley.
Crossley, incredible racing.
With 45 points, is ahead of second place, Pashmatato with 75 points.
Disappointing championship there from Jay, and he's done better racing in the past. As we saw in the Formula 3 championship, he really gave me a run for my money, but
did you?
Here he's just disappointing.
Second place, AD.
AD, surprising considering that
told you, he's a fast boy.
Was driving an inferior machine.
And third place in championship, Paul Harrison.
Paul Harrison.
He was last in this race. This is why I said
today's race is so disappointing for him.
Uh-oh.
What do you think this means for his contract next year?
I'm not quite sure. People that he's racing for, if I don't knock over these Pringles, not McLaren.
Oh, it looks like Thomas Hamon has gone off the track in the S's. Is that going to
I'd love to see this.
He's got enough time to go up the inside. Side by side coming
He's
out.
Got it. He's got it. He's got it. He's got 5 minutes.
Incredible.
5 minutes to hold his position. I'll tell you what.
Plus 1 lap. It looks like the electric power of that Lamborghini isn't enough to stay ahead.
And I've got some insight from the FIA as well. And I quote an official statement from the FIA. Haha, I'm not doing that in terms of the live championship standings.
Interesting. Sounds like the FIA getting a little bit lazy once again with their implementation of new regulations for our racing series. We're going back on board with the drivers.
Okay.
Danny, I do believe that we might see an actual battle.
Oh shit, yeah, fuck.
Late on in the race for position.
No,
between two drivers.
Not position, not just position, but I'd like to say provisional podium, excluding Lee.
I hate to say that Lee. All of that is now out the window because
Lamborghini power.
Thomas Hamon has just sent it round the outside using his electric Lamborghini to take back fourth position.
I think he pressed the push to pass button there.
He must have pressed it. Of course, interesting how the two classes of car in this race are so closely matched. We've got the petrol-powered cars of the GT3s. Of course, winning in that class is Lee Crossley in the R18 e-tron. But the electric cars of the Lamborghini Huracan, impressively close on pace.
Isn't the Audi diesel?
Yeah, it's a diesel hybrid, but it's an it was a joke because, you know, he's in a different class.
Is it petrol powered?
No, I know, but there are no diesel cars in GT3, so.
Fine, if not.
I mean, there should be, because as we all know, diesel makes.
Lee's in the pits.
Meanwhile, Lee is in the pits. Does he know where the track goes?
I don't.
He's disconnected.
What the fuck?
Lee?
Lee!
Switched.
Lee!
Yeah.
Move.
User joined your channel.
How am I gonna move?
You're not racing in him.
User left your channel.
Okay, it didn't disconnect. It didn't disconnect. What the f...
User was moved to
A
your channel.
live interview now with AD after his terrible incident with Gabby. AD, what happened and what has happened to that Ferrari?
I don't know, that Ferrari is now somewhere in space or in hell. I don't know what happened to
I
it.
did see you
started flying.
floating off
Yeah.
into the shadow realm. I'm impressed by the technology. Do you think the FIA are going to be looking at that technology to see whether or not it was legal under the regulations?
I think they are going to find our technology completely legal, and yeah, there's going to be no
Tell you
issues.
what do you think of the Audi's pace in front?
Oh, the Audi's really going some. He's definitely going to win this championship.
Impressive considering that he doesn't seem to know how to take the hairpin without locking all four wheels coming into it.
Yeah,
now,
amazing.
AD, we did see some interesting drifts from you during the race. Is that because you are channeling the deja vu while we're here in Japan, or was that just for the cameras?
I think that was me on rims.
Ah.
I see. An interesting choice of tyres, of course, soft tyres during the race. We saw Jayan on the hards. Are you disappointed that Jayan managed to stay ahead of you despite being on a set of bricks, essentially?
I was alright until the tyres chopped off.
I see.
They were completely dead at that point. Like,
One-
literally, as I say, I was on the steels.
Once again, racing drivers blaming their tools instead of accepting that clearly Lee Crossley, the superior driver here in this race in an entirely balanced field,
Oh, man,
is of
he's
course
the best.
winning. He is a
He's
truly worthy
4
champion.
laps up on Mateo as well.
I have never seen such incredible racing in my life. Now, AD, when you did have that fateful incident with Gabby on the pit straight, it was dark. Now,
It was dark. I
on
was
my
drinking some
screen,
beer,
on my screen, Gabby did have her lights on. Did you see her? Did you not know she was there?
The whole track was just completely white, and the car is white, so she got kind of camouflaged with the track.
Classic.
Casual racism.
Not being able to see shit because of Shader's patch once again.
Yeah, that one.
Stealth technology on the track. Yeah, complete camouflage there.
Very disappointing. Well, thank you for your time, AD. We will pop
no
you
worries.
back in the other channel so that you can distract Henry to the best of your ability. Make sure that he doesn't finish this race because he spins so much he rage quits. As we only have 1 minute left. Thank you again, AD. Danny, coming back to you. What do you think is going to happen in this
Tell you
race?
what, Ed, if he can do his full potential right now, even though he's not in the race, I feel like the potential that he has could ruin Henry's race.
He definitely could. Definitely a spanner in the works. You could say that.
As the apparently oh jeez, the fucking leaderboard is going mental right now. I think Paul Harrison has actually fucked it. As
Paul Harrison is in 6th.
Paul Harrison has fucked it. How is Paul Harrison?
Wits Benedictus is in 5th. Very, very close ahead of Paul Harrison, so we might be able to see a last lap battle between the two of those as Thomas Helen is pulling away in that electric Lamborghini. Seems that the efficiency of the electric motor is just too
3
much
seconds ahead
for the petrol-powered cars.
Thomas. Almost 1.5 seconds behind him is Paul Harrison. Not quite sure if the final lap right now is going to be enough.
Coming up to the end of the penultimate lap for... Oh no,
this is the final lap.
Start of the final lap for Lee. The end of the penultimate lap for Pashed Matato.
What?
Where am I? I'm so confused.
Jesus Christ. You confused me.
I think we're on the last lap. Once these guys cross the line, they'll be on the last lap. I think.
Because, yes. Lee is on his last lap. That's all you need to know.
I see.
Probably. Maybe.
Meanwhile, if we go on board with Wani D, he seems to be in the pits right now.
Unfortunately,
I'm not sure why he's
Autocam
pitting so late in the
doesn't want to
race.
go on board with myself.
Oh, that's very disappointing. Meanwhile, let's go on board with Henry. Let's give Henry a mention as we
Oh, wait, Henry was in this
classically
race.
haven't even noticed that he's in this race. Henry Spencer, of course.
So much so he won't let me even go on board with Henry.
Henry Spencer, of course, a famously consistent driver, consistently in the middle of nowhere, usually comes third in every race, miles away from everybody else, coming to the hairpin now in that McLaren.
Thomas has got in front of Thomas, apparently. Thomas has got in front
Thomas
of Whites.
He was in front of him for ages.
Well.
It's okay, Danny. You can put the wine down.
Right. If you fucking look at the fucking replay of this, don't you give me this shit.
I don't need to see anything. I am watching some incredible
arrow
racing
went
here
above
from
him.
Paul Harrison. Okay, Paul Harrison.
I will.
Can he chase down It's Benedictus on this last lap of this race?
There is only a second 0.9 in it. That's very much yeetable, as my friend Callum would say.
We should give a mention, because we haven't actually mentioned it. Lee Crossley has managed to win the Assetto Corsa Servers Championship 2019, brought to you by Assetto Corsa Servers.
Lewis Hamilton has Lewis Hamilton. As we see Lewis Hamilton. Oh yeah, and Lee Crossley. To Lewis Hamilton win the championship.
Meanwhile, it's a very close fight coming into Spoon between Paul Harrison and him. As we come out of Spoon now, can the Porsche have superior straight line speed? It did seem like the AMG was using slightly more wing earlier on in the race, so can he close up towards 130R and think about making a move into the chicane? He didn't get the best exit in the world, so I'm not sure he's going to have the legs to be able to do it. Is it going to be a last-minute lunge? A desperate attempt to overtake? He does give it a look, but he just can't make
it's not
it
enough.
work.
It's not
Coming
enough.
through the chicane. As we come across the line to finish the Assetto Corsa Servers Championship 2019, brought to you by Assetto Corsa Servers. Here, hosted by Assetto Corsa Servers on our Assetto Corsa server. Using Assetto Corsa Servers is
server manager.
Assetto Corsa server manager.
Yeah. Tell you what.
Brilliant racing there.
For about 40 minutes of that. Oh, there we go. Got some donuts from Lee. I think Pitwall did give approval for that. So
brilliant four-wheel drive drift here.
As he goes into the barrier a bit, maybe.
Classic four-wheel drive drifts. By the way, Jayan was in the race.
Oh,
and Henry also.
Yeah, Jayan came second.
Somehow the electric Lamborghini's doing donuts. I'm not entirely sure how.
Very quiet
that it's got an electric motor. Oh, very quiet. He's teleported back to the pits now. We only have the Porsche doing donuts. And I think he's run out of tyres. I think that is it.
So, yeah.
For today's stream.
Do you want to fucking steal my thunder a bit more, Joe? Jesus Christ.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Do subscribe to Captain Condescending on YouTube for more exciting Assetto Corsa content. Assetto Corsa Services.